Hi folks, welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Dave Gallus, your host, and today we are here again with Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor.
Hi,
Bev,
Dave.
welcome aboard again.
Yes, good to see you today.
You too. We've discussed a lot of things over the last couple weeks. Now, one thing that bothers me big time is mismanagement of city funds. You know, this deal that we had with the immigrants that are coming through, the asylum seekers, and we just peeled off $1 million point something from the Telshore Fund like it's nothing. To me, the money isn't spent well. I mean, there's other things that we could do with that. Do you have any suggestions how we could spend the money better?
Well, yesterday I was at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon.
Okay.
And it was a full house. So I think that people are beginning to look at the city and question what their priorities and what their motivation is. And so it's pretty clear that those that are on the city council, they want to run the city not as a government service to the people, but as a business.
Wow, you're competing with small businesses if you do that.
They're competing, but it's also not really fair because it is taxpayer money.
Sure.
And so if you're managing taxpayer money, it's not to make Las Cruces into a business that competes with business, but to provide services.
Right. You're
for the
employees.
people.
Yeah, you're employees of the people, us.
Right.
So the people have to get out and vote. The point is, if you're not happy with the way the city's been run, and I'm not happy, I would say people need to get out and vote. They need to be educated on who the candidates are and what they want to do. Now, all I hear from Miyagishima and Gandara, who I sat in on an interview, it's how wonderful things are. Wonderful? I don't think so.
Well, they do have money. You know, we look like we're well managed but that is not the duty of a government, is to be acting like a business entity. It's important to manage the money well.
Sure. But
the number one priority is providing services that the city government is supposed to be providing with taxpayer money. It's not their money.
Wow. Well, Miyagishima, when I asked him, I said, you said this Telshore Fund isn't our money. And he said, well, it's not taxed money. I said, is it Las Cruces money? He said, well, yeah, it is. So it's like, of course it's our money.
And it was come from the people at some point, you know.
Yeah.
It's sitting there, and it grows, so they have interest.
Well, the property that is being leased is the hospital property, and that money it's lease money that comes into the city that should be used for the city.
Right.
I mean, we don't even have, as far as I know, we don't have really a drug rehab center in the city, and yet we have the armory that opened up to help the asylum seekers move through.
Speaking of the drug rehab, we call drug rehab, but they have the crisis triage center sitting out on 17th Street.
Oh, right.
And it was built in 2013, and it has never been funded.
It was built.
But guess what they used it for in the spring?
I have no idea.
The asylum seekers. It was such a nice place for them. They had phone service. They had internet, they had television, they had private rooms.
How about our citizens?
Office space.
Our citizens. Because if you reduce the mental illness, you're going to reduce drug use, you're going to reduce crime, you're going to keep the citizens safer.
Exactly.
I mean...
And it keeps the police, it relieves the burden on the hospitals and on the jail, on the police.
Sure, it makes sense. And you're helping people that need help. Mental illness, there can be a lot of reasons for mental illness.
So, you know, that would be a priority and an obligation that the city should take. You know, I don't really have the answer about the asylum seekers, except that their duty is to us first.
The city council and the mayor, absolutely.
And
Well, I also said to Miyagishima, I said, you know, Santa Fe is a sanctuary city, and yet Santa Fe said they wouldn't take any asylum seekers, and they didn't get any. And I said, how is it that Las Cruces, who is not a sanctuary city, although we're supposed to be a welcoming city, and I don't know what the difference is between sanctuary and welcoming, but
it's just a play on words, probably.
Sure. They're making it sound nicer than it is.
Right.
So if the mayor of Santa Fe, or whoever the government is in Santa Fe, can refuse the federal government from placing people in Santa Fe, why can't a mayor of Las Cruces do the same thing and say, no, we don't want them? Or you give us the money before we take any people in. Because now what I understand, they're trying to recoup the money that was spent from our Telshore Fund.
You know, it's just, I think they're open border advocates. And so that was part of their philosophy. They have their special interest. They have their agenda.
Right.
And they don't look at, like, the taxpayer. We're not represented there because, like I said, they have this other agenda. They have their ideology, and all they see us is as a cash cow for them to do what they please. And we definitely need some different representation.
Well, they're progressive Democrats in office now.
Everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's true. The state, the county, and the city.
Yes.
And if you have open borders, that tells me down the line you're going to have Democratic voters because they're going to be on the welfare system.
I'm pretty sure. That's why I said photo voter ID, and we're kind of getting off track. But photo voter ID still won't prove citizenship since they give. Remember under Bill Richardson, they started giving all of the non-citizens
driver's license.
Driver's license. So
well, no, you have.
I would
to have
really
it
like
checked.
to prove citizenship.
Well, absolutely.
You have to prove citizenship to get a concealed carry permit.
Well, you actually, on the voter registration form, it asked you the question, are you a U.S. citizen? If you're not, I believe you're guilty of a third-degree felony.
Well, maybe they don't read it.
Well,
you know.
They should, because if they sign that, or if anybody talks them into signing that form saying that they are a citizen, they're guilty, and so is the person that told them to sign it.
They may be coerced.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't
know. We haven't cleaned up our voter rolls. Very important.
We got to watch these things. But yeah, the city, they're driving the government like a business. They, yesterday the mayor denied that they owned a hotel or retail business, but in fact, they have the property, they own the property, and they leased it. So that's still like being a landlord.
So they don't
and I heard they took another property over by the hospital that was sitting there, and they keep growing larger and larger and being richer and richer. And do you want to be rich government while all the people are impoverished?
Well, if they're a rich government, why are our taxes going up? Our tax base is higher than El Paso's.
Right. Higher than the state, anywhere in the state.
That's right. It's the highest in the state. Why is that? If we're making all this, where's that money going? How about an audit of where the money goes? And we don't have a city manager anymore, do we? I don't think so. I think he's gone for some reason, and I think he's suing the city because he was let go. But I wonder what kind of corruption was going on there that he was let go. Maybe he knows a lot about money. I don't know. That would be something good to investigate.
I'm wondering what happened to the other chief of police, too.
There's a lot of investigation needs to go on. So, Bev, when you become mayor, I hope you get involved in this.
Oh, definitely. I'm a pretty good watchdog, actually.
All right, good.
I can't help it. It's just like, I want the truth. And I don't want to believe any lie, and I don't want to operate under any lies.
Okay,
so
good. Well, be the bulldog with teeth that bites them when they get out of line.
I can. I'd rather take a gentle approach, but, you know.
I think we're in a street fight
Talk
now.
softly, carry a big stick.
All right, Teddy. Teddy Roosevelt. Well, okay. So it seems like there's a lot of things that hurt this city. The one thing, that they're increasing the minimum wage again. Now,
I don't understand, because they had passed it in 2014,
right,
and they incrementally built it up, and I thought it was going to end in 2019.
So what happened? So they're extending?
It looks like they're extending, or they passed it again without any input. And I can tell you that the businesses in town would have said no, the ones that are left.
Well, that's a good point. I think another one just left, an Oriental restaurant just closed down. I forget the name of it, but
there was a couple of places that have closed down this last week.
Wow, boy, I mean, come on. Well, how in the heck the city should be helping out these businesses stay afloat instead of raising taxes and the permitting? That's got to be murder. I heard it takes so long to get the permits passed and the inspections. They
have been working on that for a long time. Hopefully they'll get there eventually, but from what I understand in the other forum was that they need more electricians to be inspecting and plumbers, and I don't know why it's such a problem to hire them. We could send them to trade school if nothing else.
Why
and
would
hire
you-
them out of school.
Why would you have to have a private contractor working for the city? Why not hire out the contractor, the whole business, to a contracting agency? Like you said, the city doesn't have to be in the business of hiring contractors or inspectors. They have professionals that do that for a business.
Right.
Let them do it.
Right.
Let them factor that into whatever it is
And the business is going to be more competitive, so they'll make it happen fast.
There is no government business that is going to do better than a private business. Because
Right.
there's no incentive to do a better job for a cheaper rate. But there is an incentive for a private
Exactly.
company. You get the best product for the cheapest price.
Which brings me to the question, if you build a hotel or or retail center, or you're just the person that leases it out like the city is, do you get to skip all of the rule and reg and the permitting process?
Well, I guess if you're
or do
the
you
city-
get front of the line, or how does that work?
Well, I guess if you're running the operation, then you would give yourself preferential treatment.
You would, wouldn't you?
That's another thing you've got to check out when you get in as mayor. So there's going to be a lot of fact-checking and uncovering.
I would encourage them to get rid of all the property. It's dead weight. It's not for them to be, doing it. Let the
No.
people in the city do
Give
it.
a tax incentive to a business that
They
wants
say,
to
well,
come
it
in.
creates jobs. Well, if it was a private individual, they would also have jobs available. It doesn't
Sure.
have to be the city. Everybody in the city doesn't have to work for the city. They're a
that's
pretty
good.
large employer, and they keep adding and adding.
Sounds like our federal government. Well, look, we're gonna take a short break, and then we'll come back and solve more problems of Las Cruces. So
Thank you,
stay
Dave.
tuned, folks. We'll be back with Bev Courtney, who's running for City of Las Cruces mayor. Be back in a minute after a short commercial break. There you go.
So great, you can do all these different ears, like that.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys, not all. But
Hi, I'm Bev Courtney. I'm running for mayor of Las Cruces, and when I'm elected, I promise to uphold all the laws, including the first inalienable right, the right to life. Be sure to watch me live on the Candidates Forum at the Las Cruces Channel Facebook page, Monday evenings at 9:30 p.m. Thank you.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here! Horizon Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here!
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to the Candidates Forum. We're again here with Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor of Las Cruces. Now, we've touched on a lot of things, but let's touch, how about minimum wage, Bev?
Okay, minimum wage. I like smaller government. The people have more freedom. Okay, and then the smaller government is, the less money they have, the more money the people have.
Well, that makes
Because
sense.
taxation is taking from the people, right?
Right.
And if you're paying high taxes, then you have less money to spend on what you want, but the government they get to spend money on what they want.
Right.
Well, so they decide that they want to do a mandate. I'm not for government mandates.
Okay.
I don't like them because you got to remember that a mandate or a law is use of force. Okay, so it's forcefully taking our money and our resources, and they're taking it and they do what they want with it. So government originates with the people.
Right.
They are our creation. So they need to do what we tell them to do. And we don't want them to be telling us that we have to pay a certain wage, because what happens when you're paying a person a higher wage that's an unskilled worker perhaps, or a beginning laborer, is number one, you're taking away that person's incentive to improve themselves.
Get a better job.
Like I said yesterday at the forum, that I started it's actually my second job as a dishwasher.
I've done that. I used to cut grass.
Mama told me, you better be glad you have a job and be thankful for it.
Sure.
And then I got to go to prep cook. And then before I left that place, a couple of years I was there, I was a hostess and or a cashier. Okay. And I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Well, it's an entry-level job. It's not supposed to
I
support a
made more
family.
money.
Were you supporting a family at that time?
No.
I wasn't either when I was cutting grass and delivering newspapers.
No, I was excited to get a job. That was my first job in the big city.
Well, I know people, I know professional businesses that I say to them, do you pay your employees minimum wage? And I didn't know how they were going to answer. And they said, no. I said, no. And they said, well, no, we pay them much more than minimum wage. Because you give a person an incentive to work better and harder, and they'll give a better product, and you're going to get more service.
That's right.
So it makes sense.
And then the minimum wage also would put the starter employee or the unskilled worker.
Entry level.
Then it puts them up on a level with somebody who's already, gotten from the entry level to a higher position.
Right.
So you would have to raise wages all across the board to really be fair.
And small businesses run on a very small margin of profit.
Especially restaurants.
Yeah.
Sure. They have a really high overhead. So that's why you see so many of them closing.
Yeah, we just had a couple we were talking about, a couple closed this month.
So you're going to be able to pay more for lunch. We're definitely paying more for lunch than we did. Like 3 years ago, you could get lunch for $8,
right?
Maybe 10 and under. Now it's 15.
Yeah, sure.
You go to the grocery store, it's going to cost you more to walk out with the same amount of groceries.
Right.
So we get the cost in the end. So if you're making a little bit more as a minimum wage, you're going to end up spending a little bit more at the grocery store.
Well, a small business, you don't have many choices. Look at Walmart. You have automation now. You've got, 10 tellers.
I don't like that. I like to have the service because they're faster.
Well, that's 10 people that aren't employed anymore at the Walmart at Reconnoiter.
And at Sam's.
Sure, everywhere.
Sam's and Kmart did the same thing.
Well, it makes sense because for an employer that has to really watch their budget, it's an investment to get this automation in because you're not paying sick wages or your time off, medical insurance and things like that. 401k if they still do that. It's cost effective, but if you push these companies to do that, if they stay in business, otherwise they lose their business. Like we said, so many have lost their business. And
you said that we're not a sanctuary city. How did you call us?
It's called a welcoming city.
But
the police.
So how much do those people live here? How much do they get paid? Those welcomed asylum seekers.
The asylum seekers, from what I understand,
minimum wage?
They get more than minimum wage. They're taken care of.
Because we're also subsidizing them with welfare.
Yes.
But how much are they making per hour?
I have no idea.
Is it a living wage?
Of course not. It couldn't be a living wage.
Is that fair?
No. These people are exploited by businesses that pay sub-minimum wage. So I would say that the employers that are using these people for cheap labor, they should be prosecuted.
I'll tell you what, that kind of upsets me because I don't like to be subjugated. And this is America, the land of the free.
Well, supposed to be.
And we'll keep it. So if they come in our borders and they come legally, they have every opportunity to become a citizen. Right. I'm all for that. But I'm not for them being exploited.
No, they're exploited from the people in their homeland.
They are.
They tell them they can come here and get everything.
In the open borders crowd.
Yeah. So.
And they tell you it's they're doing them good, but they're not.
Well, our city
don't-
council now, I know Ekman, I know Gilsorg, I know, is it Gilsorg? Is he city council?
Yes.
Okay, Gilsorg, Greg Smith, Ken Miyagishima, all were against the border wall. And I think
Do they have
Miyagishima
domestic
said,
help that they paid?
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. I can't say, but I wouldn't doubt it. But the thing is, I think it was Miyagishima or it was Greg Smith that said it's not cost effective. Well, Trump asked for $5 billion to start and maybe complete a good portion of the wall. And now I go on to One American News Network, and it's already cost us over $212 billion. Not the $5 billion, because Nancy Pelosi, Schumer wouldn't give Trump a cent.
So it just gets long and drawn out.
Sure, so
and
they
more
say it's not
expensive.
cost effective. Absolutely it is cost effective. And I would say somebody that says they want open borders, do you have a door on your house? Do you have a lock on
So
your door?
how much are we paying welfare to immigrants?
Well,
How much is that cost?
I don't know, but if you put it all together, it's over $212 billion this year so far. So far, and it's climbing. But it's getting better now that the wall's being built.
There's it's on Instagram or Twitter. It's called the FAIR Immigration, FAIR Immigration.
Okay.
And they give you those numbers. I haven't seen them lately.
Yeah, well, like I said, One American News Network will give it to you too. It's a running total that they give you. Yeah, absolutely, border walls work. And if you want legal people to come in, but if you have open borders, the people can be lied to and say, just come to America anywhere you want, just come on in. They say the magic word, asylum, but most of these people are going to be sent back.
And I heard the human traffickers say, I went to a meeting, that they had here, which I was glad that they did that, the volunteers that help with them. People that are being trafficked, they like their captors because they think they're coming here for freedom.
Well,
And so they cooperate with the smugglers.
from what I understand, 80% of the people that come here are rejected over time. Now, they might get into the United States and you might have to capture them to bring them to trial, which they've set up, that they've agreed that they're going to come to trial for their asylum attorneys.
And just think if it's spread out all over the U.S., how is
Yeah.
that cheap?
Well, they are. They are. That's the $212 billion I'm talking about. So these people are exploited in their own country. They get here. They have to go back to their country once they don't get approval from the asylum courts. And now they've lost the property that they've already mortgaged to get the money to come here, or they've given their children away to get access to come here. I mean,
Or
it's
sold their
terrible.
children. They
Sold their children, rented their children out.
Yeah.
So other asylum seekers can use them again. It's a shame.
It
so,
is.
But if we have good immigration laws and we have a barrier to stop the people from crossing where they shouldn't cross,
And the truth is that they do criminal acts.
sure, some do.
More
Yes.
than the normal population.
Well, the coyotes do because they're exploiting the people.
Yes.
Sex trade, drugs, firearms.
So, as far as the city and the priorities, I think that is not that's not their domain, that's not their duty, is to be a welcoming city. I'm all for leaving that with the federal government.
Well, but you can say something to the federal government.
Oh, I definitely would.
Right, well, Miyagishima didn't.
I would cooperate with them because I think that a lot of people, if they get caught at the border, it's actually for their safety.
Sure it is.
And, that's what I believe is the truth.
Well, I think our president's doing a pretty good job to putting the kibosh on that.
And so the other thing, Dave, that people are telling me about is that, like I said, we're cash cow. So they charge fees from us for everything, whether it's just a small construction project. My friend you were mentioning was charged $80 to put a tent on his own property.
What?
Yeah, and I know another friend of mine, business person, who was going to make an adjustment on one of the restaurants.
Right.
And they were going to, they weren't even going to let him do it. And it wasn't really anything except just an adjustment.
Right.
Not any major construction.
Okay.
And so they're just kind of, they pick and choose. You can do this, you can't do that. And it's nothing other than bias.
Okay.
But I went to the soccer forum last night, and they were concerned that the soccer fields haven't been improved. The bathrooms are really bad. No water fountains. Well, the GO bond is supposed to cover that.
Okay.
But, 28 years and they didn't do it. So we want our kids to be out there in the sunshine.
Yeah, but you want to give them water. You want to have toilets
Yeah,
available.
you want them to do sports.
Safe fields.
Because it's good for them. It's good for all of us.
Sure,
if
absolutely.
you've got this healthy thing. And then soccer being a worldwide sport, and we have the ideal weather, they
true.
suggested it could be great for tourism.
Wow.
So, and how much does a soccer field cost compared to some of the other things that...
I mean, and equipment-wise, I think of football and I think of soccer, and I think the kids aren't impacted physically in soccer like they are in football.
Right. Like one of the
not that
young
aggressive.
men last night is actually running for council. And sorry, I didn't get his name.
Okay.
But he said he started soccer when he was 3.
Oh, it's a great sport. I did it. I
Yeah?
used to run down the field. We were on cinders. I'd have black teeth because you're smiling and running through the dirt. Well, look, we're getting towards the end of the show. So how can people help you with your campaign or call you with questions or suggestions?
I'm actually having a fundraiser tomorrow night at my business at
And where's that?
2645 Missouri Avenue at 5:30. It's a fashion show.
2645 Missouri at
Avenue.
5 p.m.?
5:30.
5:30.
But you have to buy tickets. It has to be RSVP because space is limited.
Okay. $15
But it's a lot of
ticket?
fun.
Okay. Fashion show.
And my website is Bev Courtney for New Mexico, and it's actually number 4.
Okay.
NM.
Okay.
you
Bev
know,
Courtney,
dot-
number 4NM.
.com, and now you can go see the website.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it updated.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to close with to let the folks know? Get out to vote for Bev Courtney.
If I am mayor, I'm going to look after the interest of the hardworking taxpayers. I'm going to look after family and traditional families
Okay.
because they're raising kids, and kids are an investment in our future.
Well, can't say it any
I want
better
them to
than
be
that.
healthy. I want them to be happy. I want them to be safe.
Okay.
And we can
Okay.
make that happen here.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Bev. It's great
Thank
talking to
you.
you again. Stay tuned, folks, for the next show. This has been Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Don't forget to vote. Now, we're in early voting season, and then, let's see, you can vote at the county building now. On the 19th, you can vote at the convenience centers, and then voting day, the last day, is November 5th. Be sure to get out and vote. You have a say. Make it count.
Support voter ID. I'm Bev Courtney, and I approve this message. Carol Cooper, Treasurer.